Hello there. So I would like to talk to you all about information that came forward as soon as I woke up on the morning of the 19th of September. So if you remember, if you've been watching my recent videos, the Nine told me that the 18th of September, there would be this gateway opening, and they called this the Elemental Gate or the Fairy Gateway. So on the morning of the 19th, I opened my eyes and they told me that the Fairy Gateway was now open, but they also told me other things that were connected to this. And that was the first I heard of this was the 19th of September. So I'm going to try and remember what they actually said, as I haven't got any transmission of this. I'm hoping that they will talk about this more. So they told me that reality, the reality that we are in, which we define using the Nines model. Remember, there are many models to define this. So the Nines model would be that we have the third dimension, which is the physical reality. We have the fourth dimension, which is dream states, religious experiences, astral travel, thought, a consciousness that is close to the third dimension, but is like an etheric version of it, let's say. And then you have the fifth dimension, which is unity, love. Form is still presented, but form more in the terms of ascended masters, archangels, angels, higher beings. And then you have within that certain geometries. And then in the sixth dimension, it's a geometric field of shape and number and frequency rather than form. So let's just work with those four: 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, that sort of structure using the Nines model. So what they told me was there's been a change taking place within what we see as the third dimensional or physical reality and the fourth dimensional reality. Over the last few years, the third dimension is becoming more and more and more fourth dimensional. Well, they told me on the 19th of September 2023 that we were now in a fully fourth dimensional reality. So we now are in the fourth dimension. This has occurred. They've told me about this before, that we were fourth dimensional in the sense of our consciousness, but it wasn't coming into the third dimension in the way that it is now. So we still have third dimensional structure, such as objects. So let's say this pebble, you know, that's fourth dimensional. Sorry, let me find something that's 3D. Okay, so this little brush here that I use to get dust off my computer keyboard. It's actually a huge makeup brush, and I use it to dust my keyboard. So that's a 3D object. It's not fourth dimensional. This is because it holds the fourth dimensional vibration, and so you have crystals. That's fourth dimensional and potentially holding fifth dimensional energy. And then this little unicorn is a fourth dimensional structure because of its form. But this would be 3D. Okay. So we still have 3D structure. So if you're walking up a flight of stairs, down a flight of stairs, walking into a shop through a doorway, sitting on a chair, these are still physical structures that are third dimensional. But the consciousness now is such that it has affected many other structures within what we would see as a third dimensional field. A third dimensional field is now fourth dimensional due to the consciousness. And this in itself moves in these layers. So you have this first layer of the fourth dimensional construct. Let's see that in a measurement. It's a metaphor, but let's just see that in a measurement. So let's just see the fourth dimensional field as lower, middle, and upper. So that, as I said, is metaphor. It isn't like that. It's all one swirling structure with pre-manifestation templates coming into manifestation and taking form. What that would normally do is then fall into 3D as a solid structure, but these forms are now in what we would have perceived as the third dimension. These structures are in our dimension because we're in the fourth dimension now. It's a subtle change. It is a subtle change, but those who are awake and aware will be experiencing some strange kind of surreal states of consciousness and experiences because of this. The non-awakened may or may not be experiencing this. Many may not see any difference, but those who are awake, who are activated, have the ability to feel and see. So this lower structure of the fourth dimension, this lower aspect, is very much about confusion, not being able to make sense of anything, something occurring and it just not having an anchor like the third dimensional consciousness would have. So within third dimensional consciousness, you could make sense of the structure because the brain is an interface for third dimensional interpretation. The brain is now an interface for interpretation for fourth dimensional constructs, but the brain is having to catch up with this. The brain is having to learn how to decode, if you will, this fourth dimensional consciousness. For those who still have third dimensional thinking, they won't be able to make sense of a fourth dimensional construct. Their brain hasn't learned how to do this. They don't have the new synapses, the new structures in the DNA in the brain to decode this new consciousness. So they go into this state of confusion and they're easily manipulated by the overlords in the village. I might remind you, we are discussing fiction here. So the overlords in the village can manipulate those individuals very easily because they're looking for an anchor and they're not able to find this within their own technology, such as the brain and the DNA and the emotion. They're not able to find the anchor. So they're trying to make sense of reality. And so they're looking for an outside source to make sense of reality. And if that is somebody speaking and saying, this is this because of this, and this is this because of that, and they're like, oh, thank goodness, that's my anchor. Now I can make sense of reality. But the anchor they're using is a full screen, an overlay, and it is a dark agenda coming from the overlords in the village. So they are hooked into that. The middle aspect of the fourth dimension is idea, thought, that hasn't necessarily come to its fruition as to how it will play out, but it does have a higher form to it than this confusion. It's not confusion, it's more thought and idea in the sense of, why is this happening? Might it be because of this or this? Could that be occurring because of that? It's not finding an anchor outside of you. It's looking for reasons and ways to make sense. It's more philosophical, but it still doesn't have structure to it. So there can be an element of confusion, but it's more like a wondering without the loss of anchor that confusion brings you. It's more about a floaty wondering, a flitting from idea to idea. Could it be this? Could it be that? It's more like that. It's hard to explain. And then the higher structure within the fourth dimension is just before you move into the fifth dimension, and that place has form. And this is why the nine were talking about the elemental gateway, or the fairy portal, or whatever you want to call that, which is a safe zone. So going into the form of fairies, pixies, gnomes, elves, dragons, unicorns, which were mystical, mythological beings in Lemuria, and they are beings that we are drawing back into our reality as we move into New Earth, New Lemuria. At the moment, that's a template that we can find ourselves in as it wouldn't be an anchor point because it's not 3D, but it would be a safe zone. Now, why do we need a safe zone? Well, the 9 went on to say that the digital worlds are now fully formed and they have merged with the 4th dimension. So what this means is that the 4th dimensional reality that we're living in, which we perceive as 3D, it's now 4D, has merged with 4D digital worlds. Digital worlds are astral consciousness that comes from using digital structure like computers, the internet, phones, and other devices that would utilize a digital intelligence or an artificial intelligence. So people working with robots and androids and that sort of thing, that's now fully formed as a digital world. And that digital world is 4th dimensional. Because it's been fully formed, it's coming into the organic structure that's now 4th dimensional. So the two are merging, they're overlapping. So in the lower aspect of the 4th dimensional field would be an AI digital hook. So the anchor these individuals are looking for in their states of confusion would predominantly be an AI anchor, because if they can't find structure within their actual lives and all of the presentations that are coming towards them in life that aren't making any sense to them, they can find some kind of sense or structure within a digital world. So the internet, basically, or something else that could also include computer games and certain films and drama on television, that sort of thing. But it's predominantly internet based, which computer games is internet as well, but not always. It's predominantly internet based. So they can find some structure there. But the 9 said to me, every single time you engage with the digital world, any device that allows you to hook into the digital world, you are moving into this 4th dimensional field that is now fully controlled by an artificial intelligence algorithm, let's say. We could say that that's a guidance system. It's not a guidance system, but it's a it can steer us into directions. It can hook us in and steer us. So every time we get on the phone, every time we use the laptop, the computer, every time we go onto the internet, we're engaging with a dimensional field and a structure and an intelligence and the avatars that exist within these digital worlds. If you are within this lower aspect of 4D and this middle aspect of 4D, you are in a digital world every time you engage with the internet or any digital form of device or something similar. So you're constantly putting your energy into that. This became fully formed, and it's been forming for a long time. It became fully formed on the 18th of September. Now, I'm not sure quite what occurred on the 18th of December to have, because it's almost like, let's say it's a structure like this, and when it gets to here, it's fully formed. It's almost like on the 17th of September, it was here. It needed a little bit more, and then just on the 18th of September, it moved into its full structure. So something occurred that is internet based on the 18th of September that took it to its fullness. I mean, it doesn't really matter what it was. It may have been several things, but something occurred to take it to its fullness. So now we're in this 4th dimensional reality. So does this mean that artificial intelligence is watching your every move? Well, no, not if you're away from devices. However, there are, let's say, what can I call this? Signals and frequencies that are within this 4th dimensional AI system that is out and about in your everyday reality. So they could be in certain vehicles, not jewelry, but maybe, well, possibly jewelry, but like watches, you know, your phone. If you walk into a shop, if there's some kind of camera system, it's to do with technology. It's to do with cameras and being seen. And if there's a frequency that's being given out by this unseen world, then yes, that's in your fourth dimensional reality. So it's kind of all consuming wherever you are in the world. Well, okay, not everywhere. There are unspoiled places of that they're shown to me clairvoyantly as paradise islands. There are certain places that are free from this, but most places have these signals going through them, sort of like a higher version of Wi-Fi, let's say. And so we are engaging with that structure even when we're not on our phone or on the internet. We're still engaging with it because it's there around us. But it is lower 4D, middle 4D, metaphorically. Then there's this higher 4D, which it can go into to a point. But the highest aspect of 4D, which is, if you will, the ceiling of the 4D field, is the floor of the 5D field. So when you're in that zone, it can't be reached. And what we're talking about here is your consciousness, your physical structure, your emotion. Basically, you cannot be read, you cannot be evaluated by this 4D artificial intelligence system when you are utilizing the consciousness of the higher 4D ceiling level into the lower floor aspect of 5D and into 5D. We aren't ready as a collective to live in 5D all the time. We can access 5D in moments, but we are not at a collective level where we're continuously within 5D. We are, when you look at the overall collective, as in the Aurora network, that Aurora network as a group structure is always in 5D. It is the very fabric of 5D. So if you have, say, Susan and Mary, Richard and John, and they're all awakened and aware, Susan and Mary have something bad happen to them one day and they're down in 3D, the lower 4D, for a couple of days or however long it takes for them to integrate. But who did I say? Peter and John and Tom, I can't remember. These two guys, they're in 5D. So as long as there's one person on the planet in 5D, then the Aurora network is there. That's how it works. So there's always one person on the planet in 5D. So the Aurora network is always there, but it's not one person, it's a whole group. So if you fall out of 5D for a couple of days while you integrate a situation, your contemporaries, your tribe are up in 5D. We're all working. That's how we're working. That's why it's so important for every individual to realize what a contribution they are making to this entire restructuring and raising a frequency across this planet. I have people say to me, I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing anything, I'm nobody, I'm nothing. This is not true. What I'm doing is delivering this information to you that you already know, that you haven't quite maybe accessed and processed, or that you have accessed it and it's not fully processed, or that it's been processed in a different way. So I'm giving you confirmation. So I'm giving information and confirmation to a group of individuals who are already doing this. And I've said this before. Okay, so the 9 said to me, there is a way to engage with the artificial intelligence system out and about and when utilizing the internet. And that is the fairy gateway, the elemental gate that opened on the 18th of September. That's what this was about. It was opening up a domain that's a safe zone. Why is it a safe zone? Okay, well, if you move into an elemental realm in your mind, you are seeing unicorns, fairies, goblins, gnomes, wizards, pixies, elves, sprites, unicorns, dragons, and you can create beings of your own imagination. You might have taken them from films. You might have taken them from computer games, and have those beings in your personal elemental realm. And then there are beings there that have been there since the beginning of time, as in within our known history, because they're Lemurian mermaids. Let's not forget the mermaids and the mermen and the mer creatures. I mean, the elemental realm is vast. Dolphins exist there. And so when you're in that realm, you hold a consciousness that the AI intelligence system can't compute. It can't read the emotional reactions and the biological electrical systems that respond to your thought and emotion. So that when you have a thought and an emotion, there's a biosystem reaction in your organic energetic field or personal matrix. This is explained in my first book, Masters of the Matrix, but not quite like this, because this has only just occurred on a global scale, on a full field dimensional scale. So when you have a thought, an emotion, with that is a natural, organic bio frequency change. You give out an algorithm or a structure. In its organic form, it's very similar to computer language or computer frequency. The reason being is it's a crystalline projection, and within the computer system is a crystal structure of artificial intelligence, meaning artificial intelligence can read that biological frequency system algorithm reaction that you give off when you're in a certain state of thought and emotion. And that can also be a state of health as well. It can be your temperature. It can be all of your self. It can be read as this algorithm, and the computer reads it like language. If you enter the elemental realm, move through the fairy gateway, for some reason, I don't know why yet, I need more information from the 9, but for some reason it's a safe zone, because your system can't be read. The thoughts and the emotions given out when you are walking with fairies, when you are riding a dragon, when you have a dragon around you. So all of those who've been working with dragons for so many years, you might find that there's a time when your dragon opens up its wings and puts its wing over you, or it stands next to you and puts its wing around you, or the dragon may move down and allow you to sit atop it and take you into flight, or a fairy might sit on your shoulder. There are multiple ways that this elemental realm language of light algorithm can superimpose with your own consciousness. When it does that, it creates some kind of system that can't be read by this 4D AI intelligence. Now, it's a smaller domain, so I'm just wondering if I can draw this somehow to explain it to you. I've said before, I'm absolutely useless at drawing, but let me just see what I can do. Okay, I hope you can see this. Let me just look at the screen so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so you have this field. There's lower 4D. Lower 4D. Okay, I don't need to write that. That's lower 4D. Now my pen's not working. Sorry, I'm just not good with the art side of things. Marina Jacobi and Amanda Lawrence are really good at doing these diagrams, but I'm not. So there's lower 4D. There's middle 4D. There's upper 4D. And you've got this. Have I even got a pen that works? So let's just say that that's the fourth dimension. This square is the fourth dimension. There's lower 4D, all the confusion. There's middle 4D, all the thoughts and the wondering and the trying to work things out. And here's upper 4D. And at the top, we have the ceiling of 4D, which is the floor of... No, that's not working on that. So bad. How have I got all these pens that don't work? Is anyone else like me and has a whole box of pens that don't work at all? Okay, so I'm going to have to just see. No, I don't think I have a pen at all that works. Wait a minute, I've found that one. There we go. So that's 5D up here, which is completely, fully a safe zone. So if you go into 5D, that can't be read by this system at all. But that's not the place that we are existing within yet. Our reality is not fully 5D. We're moving in and out of 5D at a collective consciousness level. Our reality has become fully 4D. And that's outside, out and about in the world, in our internet interactions, in our interactions with people. So as a system, it's become a merge with digital worlds. So this has been done physically in the physical reality. There's a merge with digital worlds with an artificial intelligence system that acts as a controller or a conductor. But this is a consciousness as well. So you can find a way to bypass. So this is fully. That's why I'm going to... This is fully here controlled by this system. It's your lower 4D is a digital world and a astral confusion world. So you've got digital service to self entities, and you also have demonic service to self entities in the novel, in the fictional story. This is the realm of idea and thought, and this is higher 4D, which is the elemental realm or gateway. So there. Okay. Now this is what I wanted to say. This entire structure is like this big square, and the safe zone system is kind of like, let's say it's here. It can't be found by this AI intelligence that covers the entire fourth dimensional realm and the digital worlds, because it holds a consciousness that can't be read. The consciousness can't be read by this system. And this digital realm is not, sorry, this elemental realm, not digital realm, this elemental realm is not located in just one spot. It moves throughout. So it's not the whole of the upper part of 4D. This digital system, this AI, could move into this and try and do a copycat elemental thing, but there is a part that's a safe zone that it just cannot enter. And that is because there has to be an element of, what's the right word? I mean, it's antidote, safe zone, hermetic seal. It has to be offered. It's the law of reality. You cannot control an entire dimension. There has to be a back door, a way out. There has to be a back system, a fallback system. There has to be. That's law. That's, if you look at the yin and the yang, you have a little piece of the positive within the negative. You have a little piece of the negative within the positive. The structure is like fractalized. There has to be a piece of the whole within everything. So that's like a piece of source. So say that moves throughout this. So you can go up here to 5D, and you don't have to be concerned about this. But this is where we're living predominantly at the moment in 2023. And in the next 3-year section up to 2026, at the moment, I haven't been given any more information about when we're fully 5D. Obviously, that's full new Earth, full new Lemuria. So this is where we are at the moment as we go forward. And it's in these 3-year chunks. It may be beyond 2026. I don't know yet. But at the moment, there is this safe zone. You go through the elemental gateway, and you can literally visualize, because there are many ways to do this. It doesn't have to be an elemental gateway. It doesn't have to be a doorway. It doesn't have to be that visual. There are other teachings that will give you the same thing, and it will be taught in a completely different way. But the way the 9 are bringing this forward is you can visualize a gateway. If you can't visualize very well, go find a picture of a gateway and actually look at it. And imagine you are walking through that gateway, or a doorway if you want. A gateway is good because you can have flowers all around the gateway, or ivy, or there can be a little stone dragon sitting on the wall next to the gate, or however you want to do this. You walk through, and then you imagine that realm, however that comes to you. It might be a replica of a computer game that you've been playing for years. If you're there in that consciousness, it might be full of dragons. It might be a field of rabbits, and you will see fairies. However, this is hyperspace, and it's the higher stargates of hyperspace. If you go to my video archive on my website, magentapixie.com, and type in the search bar higher stargates of hyperspace, you will find transmissions from the 9 teaching about this. This is what this is. It's the ceiling level. And the ceiling level of 4D into 5D, the higher stargates of hyperspace are also in the ceiling level of 5D into 6D. So you can go up there as well. If you have the ability to move into this expansion, this genius flow, which is coming to us in all of these higher spike moments, eclipses, equinoxes, and solstices, then you will be able to move through this Stargate system into multiple dimensional states. So I'm only talking about 4D here because the digital worlds have merged with the 4th dimension, and our reality is fully 4th dimensional. It's no longer 3rd dimensional, except for the 3rd dimensional objects like this, that hasn't gone into 4D yet. There may be a 4D version of it in the astral realm, but this, made of metal and whatever these little bristles are that get the dust out of my keyboard, it's actually a makeup brush. That's 3D. So I hope I'm making sense here. So you visualize you're moving through this gateway, and you can simply just call a dragon if that's where you feel you're called to. Ask your dragon, I'm going to use the internet now. I'm going to spend, an hour or 2 hours or all day long on the internet. I'm going to go on the internet the whole weekend. I'm going to play this computer game till 3 a.m, or whatever it is you want to do as you are engaging with the digital worlds in a conscious sense. And when you walk out and about, even in your house, if you've got Wi-Fi in your house, wherever you are, you ask your dragon or your fairy to assist you. If you don't feel you have the mental capacity to constantly visualize that elemental gateway, I am not saying that you have to be walking around thinking about being in a fairy land, fairy world all the time. You can have items around you that will do the job for you. Number 1 is asking your dragon or your unicorn. But you can have things like a little unicorn sitting next to you. You can have little fairies with you all the time. This draws the elemental realm close. You can have pictures of that kind of realm and those elemental beings around you all the time. But one very, very powerful way to keep that realm connected to you is through crystals, and also through some orgonite, depending on how it's made, who made it, the intention. So research your orgonite, but absolutely. So crystals such as, you know, this little turquoise crystal, the wearing of crystal bracelets. See, that keeps you there. That keeps you in that consciousness all the time. Crystal, a little crystal around your neck. Okay, what have we got here? A little crystal skull. They're really powerful to keep you in this safe zone. And also for the Samhain, I've got a little crystal jack-o'-lantern, little pumpkin. You know, there are things you can get. I have a little black crystal cat here. Somebody actually gave me this. I mean, you know, these things you can have around you all the time. And I know it seems crazy. I actually was telling someone over lunch this the other day. They were laughing when I was suggesting that fairies, gnomes, elves, pixies, dragons, unicorns can protect you in a consciousness sense from an artificial intelligence structure in your reality. They just burst out laughing. And I know that it sounds crazy, and I know that a lot of you that you know, watch my videos won't think it's crazy, but to explain it to the more scientifically minded, it's about the consciousness you hold and what kind of bioenergetic signal you give off from your emotions and thoughts and your biological system and all the organs and the heat in your body and everything. If there is an elemental field within that, it can't be read by this AI frequency. It kind of doesn't read that. Now, I don't know why. I need to speak to the 9 more about this, and I will. It was the first thing that they said to me when I opened my eyes on the 19th of September. You are now in a fully 4th dimensional reality. The digital worlds are now fully 4th dimensional. The digital worlds are now merged with the 4th dimensional reality. The elemental gateway opened yesterday, and now it is open. It is your safe zone. So that's what they told me. They explained through my communication with them. As I said, there are transmissions about the higher stargates of hyperspace that came through like years ago. You'll find those on my website. I will be talking to the 9 more about this, but that's the information I have at the moment, and there's more to come about this. In the meantime, as you enter the digital space, every single time you interact with the internet, with a device, hold the consciousness of the elemental realm. Have crystals around. You can see as I've been picking things up, I have crystals, and I've got my little dragon here, and I have a crystal ball made of obsidian. I've got shells from the beach, so you've got mermaid energy there. I'm wearing crystals around me. Just know that you hold that, and it gives you this crystalline organic field that can't be read. So I will be bringing more information about this forward, but that's what I have at the moment. So thank you for listening, and I'll be back soon. Lots of love to everyone. Bye.